Hey, you guys, it's Carolyn from Homesteading Family. And I get a lot of questions about how we get it all done on the homestead. We're a large family, we homeschool, we homestead, we work out of the home. We have a lot of different things going on. And I get a lot of questions about how we organize that, how we manage all of it. So I wanted to do a little video series that talks about managing a productive household. Now that's different than managing a household, a consumer household, right? Where you're just going out and you're buying everything. When you start producing your own things and just making that mindset shift from consumer to producer, you actually have a lot more to manage. There's a lot more pieces, there's a lot more that goes into it. So I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about how we manage a productive homesteading, homeschooling lifestyle. One of the most important aspects of management for me is getting office planning time. As a mom running a household, this can be really challenging to do, especially if you have a bunch of little kids in the house. But I think you would be absolutely amazed at how 15 to 30 minutes every day sitting at a desk, just making some planning notes, taking care of some of your basics can absolutely change the way your household runs. Now, I tend to do this first thing in the morning after I have gotten up and done some exercises and had some quiet time and grab my first cup of coffee. I like to come in to my office before the household is really up and going. Maybe the older kids are awake and doing their chores, but a lot of times the little kids are still resting. They're still asleep or somebody's helping them to get dressed. And so I come into my office time, and this is where I take time to do my meal planning for the week. And my meal planning starts by going and checking all of my stores, whether that's the pantry or it's the refrigerators, or oftentimes it's the freezers. I go and take a look at everything and really make note of what needs to be used right away. I'm always trying to throw in those little odd bits and ends that tend to get left for last and are hard to use. I found if I sprinkle those in one every week, one every other week, it really makes those space out really nicely. So I don't end up with a freezer filled with beef liver at the end of the season and that's all there is left to eat. So I start by going and inspecting my stores, and then I come back here, and on Mondays, I take some time to meal plan. And part of my meal planning is to write down my actual meals. I have a sheet that I always use, and I write down the meals for the week. I also make a note of any big events that are happening in the household this week that are going to affect meals or anything else. They're going to change our daily flow. So I always write down the big events off of our calendar. I keep a list of the projects that we want to get done or any of the major to-dos on the list down here, so I can kind of plan those into the week. And then I also keep a list of things that I need to buy, go shop for, or errands that I need to do when I'm in town. One of my big rules here at the desk and at desk time is no devices and no internet. That's because I think you guys will probably understand this. As soon as I get on the internet, maybe I think, well, instead of writing down that I need to buy this item, how about I just go buy it really quickly on the internet? That quickly turns into a time suck. And I end up losing all of my office time by just reading reviews on the product that I'm going to buy or whatever it is. So I make sure that I don't actually bring a device into my office space at all so that I don't get sucked into that trap of losing time. That means everything that I do is pretty analog in here. It's on paper and pencil. It's on an actual hard calendar. And then later on in the day when I have time or as I find it's necessary, I'll then take that and either put it onto our digital calendar, like the family digital calendar, or I'll go and purchase the things that are on my list. So that's been really important to me, is to keep a shopping list separate on here so that I can make notes of what I need to buy, but to make that differentiation between taking the time to buy it right now versus just making a list. It really helps decrease those impulse buys too if you make sure you're just buying things that you've already written on your list. So I've already mentioned that I take care of calendar events during this time. I make sure that I know what's on the calendar, and I make sure I update everybody's calendars so I know everything that's going on. I also take time to plan out projects that we want to do. I'm always trying to do what I call upgrading projects, which means taking time to like do better in an area, to find a system that's in the house that's not working really well, and to upgrade that and make it into something that's working more smoothly. Maybe it's less wasteful, moving towards a zero waste model. Just something that is going to upgrade our life and our experience. So I'm always trying to be getting better. Otherwise, it feels like it starts to get worse, right? If you're not getting better, you're deteriorating. So I'm always trying to keep the house in a movement forward instead of a movement backwards. Now, there are some seasons where you don't get a lot of movement forward. And that's just the way that a household runs. And that's just what happens in different seasons of life. And that's okay. You don't always have to be stepping forward. But if you have a plan week by week or month by month on the things that you would like to see get better, it really helps you to step those projects ahead. There are a lot of elements to the way that I run a household to keep it running smoothly, to keep everybody on task, and to keep our projects getting done, keep the house clean, keep meals ready. But this, again, is just totally foundational to me, is having this time. So I really encourage you moms, especially if you're in the home, to take 15 minutes every day and just take time to do your planning, to take care of your calendar, to take care of your schedules and your meal plans, and to take time to walk around your entire house making notes on what needs to get done, what's not working for you, what needs to get used up. This is going to absolutely revolutionize your ability to manage your homestead and your house.